All right, this is our next episode of True Wrestling Fan Discussions, continuing our retro review series. We're going to be going on Saturday night's main event 27. I'm your host, Mike.
I'm Frank. Let's get into it. There's a lot to cover. This is the Saturday night main event, the last live spot for Saturday night main event on its way to on the road to SummerSlam. A lot of matches will be affected by tonight. So here we go. July 16th, 1990. They aired it on the 28th of July from Omaha, Nebraska. Once again, besides the matches, we didn't have four Rick Martel arrogance promos, but we did have a weird jungle theme thing going with Mean Gene and Lord Alfred Hayes.
And they had gotten away from these skits because in the early Saturday night's main events, they used to have like these comedic skits.
Yeah,
But
remember
they
the
had gotten
Halloween thing
yeah,
with Piper and Savage and all the contest, the
yeah, in
Bomb
the
of Raffle?
beginning.
Yeah.
They had gotten rid of it, and I was thankful for it to
Yeah.
focus on the wrestling. And then for some reason, they bring it back, and this whole jungle thing, it was stupid, man. I didn't like it.
Yeah. If you added up all the time that they did these skits, you actually could have put another match in here. I mean, that's what I don't understand. They do that a lot. Matter of fact, they even do that now with all the vignettes and stuff that they do for these wrestlers now. All these video packages they put together. If they spent less time doing that, you could put another match or two on these
Yeah,
events
I
rather
don't
than
know.
doing all this stuff.
I don't know.
I mean,
That was stupid. But
this one was like the dumbest one I've ever seen.
yeah, I don't even want to really. Let's just. I'll just knock it out and just explain to you guys. Like there was a skit where they're in the jungle and they see Jimmy Fly Snuka. They see who I know
The
The
Bushwhackers,
Bushwhackers. Akeem shows up.
Coco
With the
Beware,
Slickster, which was kind of funny when Akeem showed up with the Slickster. It was kind of funny because they were in
yeah,
Africa, right? They showed the map or whatever. Yeah, you said Coco Beware and the
Jake the
rest.
Snake Roberts.
Yeah, it was just.
That's
I
it.
mean,
We're done.
yeah, pretty much. I mean, Jake
Mean
mentioned.
Gene's acting like a fool. He supposedly gets bit by some ant, making
Lord
him
Al it was
act
Lord
like
Alfred
a
Hayes. Yeah, it
gorilla.
was Lord Alfred Hayes there with them. Jake did mention bad news, right? He mentions bad news, I think, but it was garbage. Anyway, moving on.
If that and even him mentioning, I mean, that whole feud was garbage.
Yeah, so
So in any event, the actual Saturday night main event opened up with Bobby Heenan and Rick Rude making their comments towards the Ultimate Warrior, not only for tonight's event but also for the steel cage match at SummerSlam between the two. Ultimate Warrior had his comments as well.
did they have meant? Did it? I remember them mentioning it at the end. I don't think they mentioned it in the beginning, right? They mentioned it at the end about the steel cage. I could be wrong. Maybe it wasn't
They
completely
mentioned the match at SummerSlam, but they mentioned the cage later on when they were interviewed
Oh,
again.
okay. I don't understand what the point of them fighting was then. Like, why would you?
You know what would have been cool, and even if you just because they did this once before, where a champion had held the belt for 9 days, Rude upsetting Warrior
Right? Yeah,
on this
and
night,
yeah.
winning the title, and then next month at
That
SummerSlam
sets up.
dropping it back to the Warrior.
That would have made more sense. That would have made more sense.
I would have bought that.
I didn't mind the match. I didn't mind. It was
Oh
good to
no,
see
the
these
match was
guys.
good.
The match was great too, but I just felt like why would you do that right before pay-per-view? Like you said, like it would have made more sense an upset and then boom, Warrior gets it back. But for whatever reason, another note, all the titles are on the line this night. There's three title matches. So all the titles
Exactly,
are on
and
the line.
all three matches were really
Yeah.
good.
So
Uh,
yeah,
right.
Warrior gets in the ring and then Rude just starts he starts attacking him from behind.
That's the only way you could do it.
Yeah.
I mean, and these two went at it. Finally, Rude was able to get the Rude Awakening at one point on Warrior. He tried twice. It got messed up. Finally, he didn't even do the whole thing. He just grabbed his neck and did it. Still didn't get the pin. It ends on a disqualification with Bobby Heenan getting involved, although it took quite a few minutes before the referee actually rang the bell.
Yeah, Vernon.
But
Yeah.
I believe the referee was counting Rude out, but
Well, I remember the Rude.
Vince
I
Vince
remember the
was the one who
referee.
said that he got disqualified.
Yeah, I don't know. I remember Rude the referee was counting Warrior out initially, and I think Bobby Heenan tells him, "Hey, you can't win the title." And look, that's what I'm assuming because he tells him something. I think he tells him you can't win the title like that. So then he breaks the count, and then Warrior gets back in. That was a spot in the match that I liked. Also, Warrior got hit with the belt. Rude hit Warrior with the belt during the match. I think it was on the outside of the
Caught him
ring.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was outside.
And Rude was a bumping machine, so that was great stuff. We had
And,
Heenan
and and
interfering.
let's also mention on this one, this is Jesse Ventura's final
Yeah, this is his last
event,
one. Yeah, Jesse and
last event in WWE.
damn man, Jesse and Vince
Unfor-
had good chemistry too, man. It's a shame that Jesse left, but
Vince always got rid of the good ones. I don't know why. Now, granted, we got Ross and Lawler later on through
well, he
the
didn't get
Attitude
rid of
Era. They
Jesse.
were
That's
great.
not he didn't get rid of Jesse. That's not what happened.
No,
What
I
happened
know.
was Jesse had a deal in place with Sega. I believe it was Sega Genesis at the time. Was going to make a wrestling game, and they wanted to use him in the game, Jesse Ventura. So Vince said no. For whatever. I mean, he didn't want him, I guess, doing outside business with a video game company. I don't know who had the WWF rights. I think maybe it was a claim at this time. I could be
Claim,
wrong,
yeah.
but it was Sega that wanted to do a video game with him, and then Jesse wanted to get paid, and they had an argument. They had a fallout, and so he leaves after this.
And then it only got worse after he left.
Yeah, Jesse was the man.
Uh,
Miss
it,
Jesse.
it was him, Bobby. Again, them leaving the Attitude Era with Ross and Lawler made sense, but
Yeah, yeah, but
Bobby Heenan and Jesse Ventura were one of the two greatest announcers next to Gorilla
oh
Monsoon
yeah, yeah, yeah.
of that
Definitely.
era. So, losing Jesse, at least we get to see him in WCW later on, but him leaving WWE was to fans of him, it was heartbreaking,
Yeah, I don't know.
especially this close to SummerSlam too, having the fallout.
Yeah,
So the Ultimate Warrior gets the win by disqualification. This is now going to, lead up to SummerSlam. They're going to have their unfortunate last fight. So moving on from the Lord Alfred Hayes nonsense. After this match, they did the video package
hmm
for Hulk Hogan, which I remember as a kid watching Superstars of Wrestling Challenge. They threw this down your throat at least 3 times in that hour.
So yeah, Hogan
So,
had been gone for a while, from the earthquake attack on the Brother Love show.
yep.
But that video package was great, man. I remember as a kid being all upset that Hogan, and I feel like I already knew that wrestling was fake. Obviously, I think somebody had already told me.
Yeah.
Told the story in the past. But for some reason, I think I still thought this was real. This part of it with Hogan.
Yeah, I
Great
thought so
story.
too. Even
It was a great
though it
story.
was fake, it's like, did he really hurt him? Is he out? Is he contemplating retirement? What's going on? I mean, and then he gets into Vince McMahon interviews Hogan, and he talks about the match. What I love about this is Hogan said that he was going to respond to every letter and every postcard that he got in the mail, even if it took him a year. Well, I know for a fact that's BS because a friend of mine actually did it. Because when you remember on Superstars, they tell you where that you could send the postcards
Yeah.
and the letters to get well soon. Yeah, a friend of mine actually did it. Never got a letter back.
Oh. I know WWF would send stuff back if you did. Obviously, it wasn't Hogan, but they would
No,
send.
yeah, it was their
They would.
department.
I
Yeah,
mean, it's a great marketing thing. Get people interested, and then get the fans involved, get them to interact. I
still
like how,
still be behind Hogan
yeah,
too.
I like how Jesse said that he made a big mistake coming back.
Never liked them. So so now Hogan's in the ring being interviewed by
Vince, yeah.
Vince. Who comes down? Jimmy Hart,
Well,
Earthquake, and Dino
well, right
Bravo.
before that, he cut a great. I mean, he cut a great promo thanking the Hulkamaniacs and everything. The crowd was into it. Hogan was still over, even
Oh
though
yeah,
he gone for. He wasn't gone that long, but he had lost the titles of Warrior. And so they come down to the ring. Earthquake, Bravo, and who else was this like?
Jimmy Hart.
Jimmy Hart. Yeah, Jimmy Hart comes out, and then Hogan surrounded. He doesn't know what to do. Well, I like how Hogan took off his belt and he starts like swinging the belt around. He had the weight belt. And
Yep.
then who comes out but his boy, Tugboat.
Tugboat. And Ventura says Hogan is saved again.
Yeah. Tugboat was big, man. Big
Yeah, he
dude.
was.
So yeah, then I like when Hogan and Hogan and Earthquake were not Hogan and Earthquake. Hogan and Typhoon.
Tugboat.
Tugboat. We're
He was
back to
better as
back.
Typhoon.
It
Better
was
as
way better,
Typhoon.
way better, way better.
Yeah.
They were back to back. That was pretty cool. And then they go after these guys and these guys take off. But it was good. It was a good spot. I enjoyed it. That was good. That was good.
Yep, it was.
Of course, Typhoon is. I mean, I keep saying Typhoon, man. Tugboat's supposed to be in his corner at SummerSlam, but then he gets his ass whipped by Earthquake before that. So then Boss Man ended up being
Boss
in it.
Man, yeah, big,
Yeah,
which actually helped Boss Man's being a baby face.
yeah.
Fans still weren't quite there. Helped Boss Man be a baby face, especially in Hogan's corner, especially a guy he feuded with. Our next match was for the tag team titles. It was Demolition defending against the Rockers, and it would be Smash and Crush doing it. And Crush to me in this match was completely green.
Yeah, yeah.
He botched a few moves. He just didn't. It looked like they were still training him. He looked a little better at SummerSlam, but in this match, he looked like they just took him out from the minor leagues or wherever they developed him
Right, yeah.
from and said, "Okay, all right, get in there." And the match was really good. We said this in the last Saturday Night Main Event with the feud going on between Demolition, the Rockers, the Hart Foundation. This was awesome. Imagine if they could do a triple threat match back then.
Yeah, it was kind of weird though. At the time, I remember seeing Crush. I didn't even know what was going on. The behind the scenes thing was that, Axe had that shellfish allergy, but
Mm-hmm.
they thought his heart was messed up. So they were kind of protecting him. They didn't know if he was going to be able to wrestle full time or not. So they brought in Crush as like an insurance policy. They're newly heel now.
Yeah, unfortunately,
Demolition's heel, because they're gonna get ready to feud with the Legion of Doom. Thought the match was
and get destroyed by them.
pretty
Their
much.
gimmick was
So
bull.
I thought the match was good.
It was
But then,
definitely was.
yeah, what ends up happening? There was a demolition. Oh, they cheat. That's what happened. They
Jim,
switch.
yeah, Michaels rolled up smash. Axe came in and clotheslined him, and Axe was the one that got the pin, and
Right,
Demolition won. Now, what's funny is not only do the Hart Foundation come out to defend
right.
the Rockers, but so does the Legion of
The
Doom.
Legion of Doom, who had just gotten there too.
Yeah, and they're all trying to convince the referee that it's
Right.
the wrong guy got the pin. I believe I heard Ventura says that's because the Hart Foundation wants to face the Rockers and they're afraid of
Yeah,
demolition.
that was good. Yeah, that was a good line.
And I'm like, at this point, I'm like, at SummerSlam, I would have rather seen the Rockers win the titles this night, go on and face Hart Foundation at SummerSlam. Unfortunately, thank God it didn't happen that way because we all know Shawn Michaels was injured. Come SummerSlam, he wasn't medically cleared, and that's with the whole Power and Glory thing. This is also where the tag team division is really getting good at this point. And now you got all four of these teams in a tag team title hunt. This was great. And the feud between all of them was just amazing. The only thing I don't like out of the whole thing was Demolition got made to look like shit. Pardon my phrase with the Legion of Doom.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I don't agree with that either.
I mean, not only did the Legion of Doom destroy the Powers of Pain in NWA, but now they're coming here to take out another team with the face paint, and they're like, we're the dominant team. Like
Yeah,
Demolition was just. I didn't like what Vince did after WrestleMania 6 all the way to WrestleMania 7. He just destroyed this team.
yeah, pretty
It
much.
just, I didn't like that. In any event, moving on to the next thing after this, Sean Mooney had interviewed Bobby the Brain Heenan and Mr. Perfect
Hmm.
going into their upcoming match with Tito. I was looking for them to mention the match at SummerSlam, but they never did against Brutus. I would assume that by this point that match was signed, but there was no mention of it by either Vince or Jesse or even
Well,
Bobby the Brain and Mr. Perfect.
I know Brutus because Brutus gets hurt around this time. I don't know if it's right after this or when it happened.
It was right around this time.
Yeah, so maybe Brutus just got hurt and they didn't know what was going on. They hadn't made the decision yet. So I don't know. I'm not sure. But
But
rematch of the finals, the Intercontinental Championship finals.
yes, and this match, this was 10 times better than the finals of the tournament.
It's a great
I
match.
mean, it was. How many? You see how many times
This should have
Tito
been
almost had to win?
like 3 times. Some of that. This should have been a pay-per-view match.
Exactly. You just took the words out of
Yeah,
my mouth.
yeah,
This
yeah.
should have been SummerSlam.
Yeah, really. I mean, man, not from looking back on it, man. Tito should have gotten a little bit of a run in
But
the
remember what they wanted to do with Tito. His original opponent for SummerSlam '90 was Rick Martel, which by now having a one-on-one pay-per-view match was pointless.
Yeah, it's a little too late, but
But instead they gave him the Warlord, which made
I don't
no
know.
sense.
I mean, Tito was underrated. I mean, he never after like the early '80s, they really didn't. He was just a mid carder. Like he was just putting guys over and stuff. I mean, they should
Which
have
is a
given him a little
shame.
bit. Yeah, they should have probably given him a little bit of a run instead of putting it on Texas Tornado, the
Yes.
IC title. I mean, I know
Tito
Karen
should have
Garnett was
gotten.
big prior to that, but he wasn't really the same, and his head wasn't in the right place. So I
He
thought
didn't
Tito
get a
maybe.
big. He didn't get a big pop this night because he makes his debut.
Yeah, well,
I
I
mean,
don't. I think
against his opponent, which is trash, but still,
yeah, but Tito, this was
Tito should
unfortunately,
have gotten the title shot
yeah,
at SummerSlam,
should have
even
done
though
something.
Brutus. When they signed that match, and then obviously Brutus gets hurt, and they have to find a replacement. It should have been Tito
Yeah.
because the way this match went, I mean, how many times? And then
Ref got knocked
the
out.
referee,
Damn
yeah, the
ref.
referee gets hurt.
Was this the ankle one?
Yes,
I'm watching this. I'm like, what does your ankle have to do with you counting? You can
exactly.
like, and he's holding the ankle. He's holding the ankle, and I'm like, come on, man. I
And
know it's
and
wrestling, but
meanwhile, how
still,
many times I know, and it's already pre-planned, but still, as a wrestling fan, you're still gonna yell at it and
he's
go, "This
holding
is
the
come
ankle,
on."
and you know where this is going. Like you're watching this, you're like, no, Tito, because you know where it's going.
Yeah, because
So
once other referee comes in, Tito's momentum is pretty much
of
gone.
course, yeah,
Despite the fact that he had the figure four leg lock on him, he hit him with the flying forearm.
yep,
He hit him with everything he could. How many times he had that pin? And he goes for the figure four with the ref down. The small package was reversed for the ultimate finish. Mr. Perfect gets the victory, still the Intercontinental Champion. This is
yeah,
where I say this, like you did, this should have gone to SummerSlam, and I guarantee they would have tore the house down.
yep,
I mean, granted, Texas Tornado got a huge pop at SummerSlam, but I believe it
yeah,
was because he beat Mr. Perfect, who's an
was
ultimate heel at this point.
yeah, definitely.
So, and speaking of Texas Tornado, he's in the main event, but before that, Jesse Ventura had gone back to interview Earthquake, Bravo, and Jimmy Hart about the upcoming match with Hulk Hogan. Earthquake gave a good promo here. It was good to see him in the second. Let me just say this right now: this match should have not been the main event of SummerSlam. We've made that known. Warrior and Rude should have been the go home match, but because it's Hogan,
Hogan, yeah,
Hogan has to be the main event,
yeah.
which is bull. But Earthquake gave a good promo, and again, it was good to see him in the main event spot. Unfortunately, he
Mhm.
doesn't stay there long. So our main event was the debut of the Texas Tornado versus Buddy Rose.
You know what's funny? I completely forgot about him at this point. I forgot when he had the what was that? He used to put like baby powder on himself. It was blow away or something, and it's supposed to blow away the fat. Do you remember that?
Yeah, this was like a bootleg Adrian Adonis to me almost.
Yeah. So
But I mean, this guy he couldn't even freaking wrestle, man. I mean, come on, you couldn't give Tornado a decent opponent. I mean, come on, Paul Roma or something, anybody.
yeah. So
Then this
it's like filler. It
fat,
was like a filler. It was the main event. It was a filler. Everyone was sleeping at this point anyway. Well, not everyone, but most people were already asleep because this was on so late on
yeah,
Saturday. So you have to have the good stuff really early. We spoke about this
yeah,
before.
seriously, because it would start at 11:30 and usually go to 1 a.m. in
Right.
New York.
Right.
And this was a 3-minute match, and
Thank God.
Tornado gets the discus punch and gets the pin. Then he threw Rose over the top rope. So this was a good debut for him. Not a big pop, but again, he gets it at
Mhm.
SummerSlam because of who he's facing. I like the fact that Tornado was the Intercontinental Champion. Don't get me
Yeah, I don't
wrong.
mind. Kerry was great, man. It's just
Belt
that, like
looked
I
good
said,
on him. Survivor Series, he looked good. But the fact that he lost the title on a house show bothered me.
yeah,
Like, you should have done this. You could have did this at the Rumble.
yeah.
And then, Tornado could have gone into WrestleMania feuding with DiBiase, which he, already was, because DiBiase was the one that helped him. And then, I don't know. I like the way he won it and like the way he lost it. So after this match, Sean Mooney had interviewed the Warrior about Rude, as well as Jesse interviewing Rude and Bobby about it. And this is where they mentioned the steel cage at
Hmm.
SummerSlam. And they both had their back and forths with each other. These two interviews especially would pump you up for this match.
Yeah,
Like, all right,
definitely. It was
let's
great
let's
stuff.
go. Again, I've said this 1,000 times. I'll say it 1,000 more. I wish to God Rude did not leave. I'll blame Hogan for it. I don't care. The
Yeah, this is when
politics is the reason why Rude left.
Rude had the new look. He had the short hair now. He
He
was
looked great.
jacked. I mean, he was always in great shape, but I think
Yeah,
he looked even better
he
at
looked
this
better with
point.
the short hair.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He was transitioning to the 90s. He didn't look like a porn star anymore.
Yeah, seriously,
Yeah.
especially with the
More
porn
like an 80s
stash and,
porn,
and the and
80s
the
porn
Jerry
star.
curl hair. But
Yeah, yeah.
I wish Rude could have stuck around.
Yeah, Rude was
You
nice.
know, he did what he had to do, and hey, no, he didn't. I'm sure he didn't regret it. He had great match. He had a huge career in WCW, despite the fact that it was
Hmm.
short.
Yeah, definitely.
But I mean, overall, this was a good one, leading to
It was really good.
SummerSlam '90. So I
Yeah.
just some of the match. I wish the Rockers match would have gone differently, and of course, Hogan's got to be there. That always ruins it.
Yeah. Nah, at this point,
Nah,
it
I'm
was
just
at,
kidding.
th at this point it was good. All
It was
right,
all right.
well. You guys let us know what you think. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. We'll see you guys soon.
Take care.